Welcome back, rivals. This is Xonia, and you are in the zone. Today, we'll be taking an in-depth look at our 8th clan, the Huracan. Huracan is the 3rd most recent clan in UR, entering the ring in 2013, and I can clearly remember the day that they came to Clint City. Now, I'll admit, I've watched my fair share of wrestling in college, thanks to one of my roommates who was really into it, but it wasn't the Lucha Libre kind. Huracan is actually a very interesting clan in UR, and as such, that should hopefully make this review all the more fun. Their theme, breakdown of the stars and rarities, the cost, attack manip clan comparisons, their bonus, a breakdown of their power and damage, LDs, CRs, Miss Noel and RB cards, ELO bands, a breakdown of their abilities, my favorite card, the best and worst, underestimated cards, deck examples, extra info, and their clan comparisons. So let's get started. First off, the theme of Huracan is wrestling. Plain and simple. Well, at least kind of. Most of the characters hail from Los Santos, a small country near Clint City, much like Balgenheim or Elektrozova. Several of the UR characters have ties via their bios to Los Santos as well, including Keitha, Muller, La Bestia, Rekved, Fisher, Shell, Mango, Jason, and even Solomon. Most of these wrestlers are much like one may expect. They have a gimmick. And more than a few have ties to chickens, likely for the reference to cockfighting, for better or worse. Cactuses, chickens, mariachi bands, hot sauce, and sombreros aplenty can be found in this clan. As for a breakdown of their stars and rarities, Huracan contains 9 2-star cards, 9 3-star, 9 4-star, and 8 5-star cards. It has 10 rare, 11 uncommon, and 12 common cards. Of its 35 cards, 35 still retain at least some usefulness in today's meta, meaning they are all usable. Of the other attack manipulation clans, Huracan is dead last in everything, which is to be expected from such a recent clan, especially since most of the others were for the original release, and Rescue is the 2nd most recent, having almost caught up with the original clans in their number of cards. As for their cost, first, I'm really sorry for the really old price comparisons. I'll try to update them as soon as possible, but I still think we can use them to get a general idea. Based on my old data, Huracan had the lowest prices for everything except for their rares at the time, so the Huracan were one of the best attack manipulation clans for beginners because of their low prices. Costing approximately 149,000 clints for all the classic cards, if you followed my video for daily clints earning, you should be able to easily earn about 1,000 clints a day without too much effort. That means it would take about 150 days or 5 months to collect everything in the clan with minimum efficient effort. If you're lucky with your daily commons or put in more effort for your DTs, then clearly you could earn the entire clan a little bit faster. And of course, this also assumes that you want every single card in the clan. As for the cross-clan comparisons with the other attack manipulation clans, let's take a look. Since attack manipulation clans can win in 0-pill battles, and will always force cards with no manipulation to pill over them, this should result in lower base power for higher attack manipulation clans, and perhaps average power for the lower attack manipulation clans, since their bonus will be less effective. Let's take a look. Further reduction, however, will result in a higher base damage as a trade-off. The first things we should notice for Huracan is how stable it is overall. The average base power is right in the middle, with average damage and average totals being 3rd best. However, we should also notice the groupings are all extremely close for the overall stats, except for poor Rescue. If you notice as well, 3 clans' averages flip-flop. Sacrom has the best power but the worst damage, Uppers has the best damage but the worst power, Junks has the 2nd best power but the 2nd worst damage. 3 clans beat the averages though. Sentinel has the 3rd worst power but 2nd best damage. Montana has the 3rd best power and exact middle on damage. And Huracan has midline power and 3rd best damage. And Rescue, well, good job little Rescue, 2nd worst power and 3rd worst damage. When comparing the attack manipulation clans closest together, we also notice some interesting things. Sentinel is damage-based, while Junks is power-based. Uppers is damage-based, while Sacrom is power-based. Montana is a bit more power, while Huracan is a bit more damage. And Rescue is attack manipulation-based. Which leads us into the next observation about overall stats for the attack manipulation clans. All of the plus attack clans have higher overall stats than the minus attack clans. Also, the lower the attack manipulation in general, the higher the averages are. Sacrom, Sentinel, and Junks are in the top 4, while Uppers and Montana bring up the rear. Only Rescue and Huracan fall outside of these, but even Montana is surprisingly higher than Uppers, despite its higher attack manipulation value. Therein lies the lesson for us. Montana requires an extra pill to get past its min. It's not a min 3 minus attack clan, thus it can afford to have slightly higher overall stats. Rescue may be support based, but it is a solid plus 12. We mustn't forget all its DR and defeat cards too. This would definitely warrant the worst overall stats. And that leaves us with Huracan. As many of you have probably already thought, Huracan's bonus is the only fluctuating bonus in the game, besides perhaps Vortex's. This means Huracan needs higher base stats in later rounds, since their bonus might only be worth 1. It also means Huracan will tend to pill more, like a non-attack manipulation clan, since it wants to win to protect its bonus for as long as possible. I also find this data interesting because many players recently have felt like Sentinel and Uppers have been receiving some really killer cards as of late, and that the devs really favor Sentinel. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but at least as far as the base stats go, none of those clans are nearly as OP as we'd really like to believe they are. But do notice that both of those clans have a tendency towards higher damage, which may be the key factor in why we believe them to be so much better. Anyhow, back to Huracan. Notice that for power, they really are middle of the road for everything, except the 3-star power, which is absolutely horrible. However, their 3-star cards make up for that horrible power in their damage department. The Huracan will find themselves struggling in their base damage department for 5 stars, ironically. This is perhaps due to their relatively small pool of 5-star cards having plus life abilities that have resulted in lower base damage, for example, La Celerosa and Kinicha CR. Even more surprisingly, despite the horrible lack of power in their 3-star cards, Huracan still has the highest overall 3-star average base stats, carried by their amazing damage potential. As a semi-spoiler, I've now done 23 of the 25 clans, leaders don't count, and their 3-star average base damage is the best in the game, but their overall average is only the 5th best. Their 2-stars even come out as the 2nd best overall. However, their 4-star and 5-star cards place near the bottom due to their shakiness and ability-reliant nature. Thus, we should make sure to really take advantage of the 2-star and 3-star cards in our deck, and make sure to choose their most solid 4 and 5-star cards, while not relying on them too much in their abilities. Additionally, with such a shaky bonus, we'll need to make sure that we can keep it intact for as long as possible. Versus Sacrom, Junks, and Rescue, you'll need to make sure to win 2 rounds. You can probably afford to take a hit versus Junks and Sacrom, because their average damage will only reduce your bonus to, well, the same as theirs. However, you will have to hope you force them to pill quite a bit. So overall, basically, make sure to win 2 rounds, but do not overpill. You can afford to slow play these clans a little bit more. Versus Montana's, Uppers, and Sentinel, beware their heavy hitters, though your power should be better than Uppers and Sentinels. These clans, you'll probably need to take 3 rounds. So make sure you win round 1. If you plan to take the rounds of your opponent's best cards, you may be able to pull off a win with just 2 rounds though. Up next, let's look into the details of the Huracan bonus. Huracan's bonus is unique in UR, being the only variable bonus you can't really be sure of what you'll have until, well, it's time to use it. Aside from maybe pre-planning a lost reprisal round, or pre-planning before round 3, round 4, round split. It could be the same until round 4, or it could be mostly gone after round 1. Huracan's bonus, particularly in ELO, is most likely going to make your opponent play more aggressively than normal. They want to win round 1. If they can win round 1, you'll be much easier to pick off in later rounds. And this also means they will not only be aggressive, but they'll be more aggressive with their biggest damage cards. Think of Huracan like a reverse Rescue. Rescue slow plays until round 3 or round 4, draining pills and then overwhelming you with brute walling power. Huracan, however, calls your high pill and then laughs while you say, "Aw man, I don't have enough pills to get over their bonus now." I'm sure you've had one of those games where you go in 7 to 8 pills only to find they also went in 7 to 8 pills and you couldn't win the remaining 3 rounds even if they ulted 3 times. Thus, Huracan is the attack manipulation clan for aggressive players. Most attack manipulation clans are not aggressive, they're for people who like to ult. This means, in the most basic terms, you cannot play Huracan like the other attack manipulation clans. However, this clan does not necessarily mean that you must be aggressive. I would say, through my own experience, that I do tend to be more aggressive with Huracan. However, this will also cause some people to ult on round 1, hoping that you go in big. Huracan can also potentially monopolize on this fact, playing just 1 extra pill to catch bluffs, which also can potentially create a pill gap in later rounds. If your deck has DR or plus life cards, these can refill your attack manipulation as well. Thus, Huracan also has potential to be quite tricky. The difficult thing though is that people will in general try to take round 1 from you, because it's likely to leave you feeling more vulnerable in later rounds if you have less attack manipulation. Just be aware of this basic principle. We've only looked at this in one direction thus far though. Huracan can also increase its attack manipulation ability quite a bit too. In round 1, La Solarosa can increase your attack manipulation to 18 without a Fury. Further winning with XXII could place you at plus 23. Even after taking 10 damage, they'd still need to beat 13 on round 4. The slightest threat of plus life will often assure your opponent will go in, and know that they need to go in big. Huracan has the unique ability to quite honestly wall off a win by forcing an opponent to pill so much that even if they ult, it may still be impossible for them to win. The previous example would lead to 9 to 18 after round 1, and 5 to 23 after R2. Following up with Tengu would require a 4 to 5 power card with no attack manipulation to beat 29, resulting in up to 6 to 8 pills just to get their base damage off, let alone a Fury. Following with Garachica would also ensure no Furies from either card, requiring them to overcome a life gap of 18 with 2 cards and no Furies, or perhaps with just 1 Fury if they do have attack manipulation. This is a very scary thought. Finally, the attack manipulation bonus is almost treated as more of an ability than a bonus. You might even go so far as to classify Huracan as a clan with 2 abilities and no bonus, since they hardly seem to follow any of the normal attack manipulation clan guidelines. Thus, I would highly recommend Huracan as the perfect transition clan for those newer players who have grown up, so to speak, playing power and damage manipulation clans, and always had difficulties understanding and playing attack manipulation clans. It's a great transition clan, letting you get a feel for how to use attack manipulation without being 100% fully reliant on it. Up next, let's take a look at a breakdown of their power and damage. With an average power being around 6 to 7, we can expect Huracan to be on the lower end of that scale, because their bonus is attack manipulation. Since their bonus is bigger than others, we might also expect the power to be even lower, but since their bonus can be almost entirely removed, that also needs to be accounted for. Thus, there won't be quite as large a hit to their power. Their base power should remain average as well, since they're not an attack manipulation clan and need a shot at winning their round against plus 12 attack clans, but shouldn't have so much power that they easily trample normal clans. Overall, we should expect Huracan to be slightly lower in power then. As we can see, Huracan's power is middle of the road average, except for those 3-star cards. Bellybuster does hurt, but Lobezna isn't helping much either. The problem is that both of these cards, while not amazing, can still potentially be very useful in the right situations. Or should I say, wouldn't be any worse off. Excluding those oddball cards, it's pretty much a straight up 6-7 split all the way down the board. Your power won't be amazing, but that's why you have so much variable attack manipulation to back you up. Regardless, those 7 power cards are still really good in such a high attack manipulation clan, and you're not exactly struggling to find them. What this does is allow for a wider variety of abilities. They won't need to pump a ton of abilities into power, but if they do, they'll become potentially devastating and a real headache-inducing card. What those abilities will focus on will depend, by and large, on the base damage of the card. So the best cards will be 6 or less power with amazing abilities, like La Solarosa, El Mariachi, El Divino, El Gascaro, and Tengu. Or 7 power cards with solid beneficial abilities, like Noctezuma, Mama Killa, Derby Queen, El Matador, and XXII. Keep a lookout for 8 power cards less than 5 stars that have a decent ability, since Lumberjack is the only 8 power card currently, as it will likely become an instant staple. As for damage, the average clan has 4 to 5 average damage. We can expect to see most attack manipulation clans come somewhere right down the middle of this average, varying based on their power. If they have higher power paired with the attack manipulation, then obviously they're going to have lower average damage. With Huracan being at the slightly lower end of the power scale, we can expect slightly higher average damage, but not overwhelming. As you can see from their damage, Huracan has some amazing damage on their low star cards, but not so much on their 5-star cards. As covered earlier, this is likely due to XXII and La Solarosa, who output far more damage than these numbers seem to show. The damage in Huracan should be a bit higher, which makes sense because unlike other attack manipulation clans who are designed to need to take 3 rounds, Huracan is designed to win with just 2. Particularly, Huracan's 3-star cards have just about the best damage in the game, so take advantage of their 3 stars. With the damage being so high, this also means few abilities will need to be pumped into damage. Also, those which are channeled into plus life can be used to maintain or grow your attack manipulation bonus to keep it relevant. Thus, we can expect to see a wide variety of abilities for Huracan, since power and damage seem to be sufficiently taken care of already. After all is said and done, we've basically got a 6-4 or a 6-5 with a variable attack manipulation bonus. It's nothing to write home about, but it'll definitely get you through your match. Just make sure your cards have some variety between damage, power, and life abilities, and you should be able to handle anything that comes at you, as long as you can keep your bonus past round 1. Next, let's take a look at the LD, CR, Miss Noel, and RB cards. Huracan's LD is Magistrato LD. Magistrato LD is a very interesting card, as he's basically the clan's only normal DR. This alone makes him worth getting. His power and damage are both great too. His only downside is that he's confidence-based, the worst conditional, and can never be used on round 1. Still, he's an excellent card that's slowly getting pushed out of decks by the other amazing 3-star cards that are infiltrating Huracan with each passing release. Whenever he does come around though, I definitely recommend picking him up, even if you may not use him in every deck you make. As for CRs, Huracan currently has 2 CRs, Kinicha CR and Noctizuma CR. Kinicha went CR on June 15th, 2015, and Noctizuma CR is the most recent on April 20th, 2016. Kinicha CR is an absolutely amazing card for Huracan. Her +5 life is exactly what you want in a clan like this. She won't help you 2-hit KO, but she'll help repair your broken attack manipulation bonus, or even make it harder to climb over. Her ability synergizes perfectly with her clan's bonus, but it also means that she's basically best used in earlier rounds. Saving her to the end is denying yourself +5 attack for however long you choose to wait to use her. So with an unconditional, non-variable ability so powerful that no other card except Aelin from Skills boasts a +5 life ability, this is a card that you definitely want in your collection. Noctizuma CR is definitely a card you want in your collection as well. Noctizuma, being 7-8 base stats, is almost as good as it gets, and with that reprisal copy op bonus, he has the potential to even be a 1-hit KO card. This is what I call a leader. He has been an absolutely dominant card in the clan for such a long time that it's really going to be a loss to have him gone in future months. Noctizuma CR speaks for himself and is an amazing card. You definitely want to pick one up as soon as you can, especially since his price is going to start rising more and more with every passing month. As currently, Huracan has one, Miss Derby Queen. The ringside showgirl won Miss Clint City contest in 2013, and as a very late entrant. While her ability is conditional, and it is the hated confidence kind, she can still potentially hit 7-5, which is absolutely amazing for a 2-star card. Huracan, however, does not have any Noel cards, and will never have any RB cards, since they are a recent addition to Clint City. Up next are ELO bans. Huracan currently has a ridiculous 5 permanently banned ELO cards: El Divino, El Gascaro, Kinicha CR, Noctizuma, and Zapatino. However, ELO is in the midst of being changed around, so this list could change very soon. And as a side note, El Mariachi has been on and off the player ban list too, even though he's less than 3 months old. Sadly, this will limit your 5-star play quite a bit, as you can see, and the loss of El Gascaro will force you to seek a defeat fork from elsewhere, likely stealing another 2-star spot and robbing you of some extra potential damage. Still, Huracan has nothing worth complaining about when it comes to having good cards viable in ELO. Up next are a breakdown of the abilities and conditionals. First, let's take a look at the abilities. Some points of note are that the main abilities seem to be life, power, and protection. Life, for obvious reasons, is the lifeblood of Huracan's bonus, so it only makes sense that there's a lot of plus life abilities. This is also unique in that life bonuses offer a dual-pronged effect for Huracan only, increasing their attack manipulation while also increasing the life gap from the card. It also makes the clan even more resistant to DR, so beware these cards. The power cards are less than exciting, however that doesn't detract from the potential these cards could have one day. Protection is also popular, though the cards with protection are not exactly the frontrunners of their respective star spots. As for saturation, Huracan already has 2 of the best COB cards in the game. It also has a nice choice of plus life cards. However, outside of those 2 spots, almost everything has the potential of getting improved. Be on the lookout for non-conditional plus power cards. Those can offer some serious first round firepower for Huracan. Also, be on the lookout for some non-confidence based DR. Other than some defeat plus life cards, Magistrato LD is Huracan's only DR. Another good card with SOB would turn Huracan into an attack manipulation clan to rival attack manipulation clans, with 3 strong bonus control cards, allowing them even further flexibility against whoever they come up against. Huracan has more conditional cards than non-conditional cards. Huracan would be an excellent fit for Killshot, since you probably wanted to play a lot of pills on round 1 anyway, Support or growth would also be welcome and terrifying in the Huracan clan. Overall, you'll definitely want to keep an eye out for non-conditional cards, as many of Huracan's best cards are already conditional, so you'll be looking for some solid non-conditional cards with more versatility to back those up. A new revenge card might not hurt either, though, since most of the current ones aren't really used in a lot of top-level decks. As for my favorite card in Huracan, well, it's close, but as you probably guessed, it's Noctizuma. I rarely got to play with him, but when I do, it's always enjoyable. With the ability to absolutely destroy most cards it comes up against, as well as one-hit KO against certain clans, Noctizuma brings a very clear and present danger field to the match, as any clan leader should. It doesn't take much to understand why Noctizuma is such a powerhouse. There's very little that will catch him off guard. He has the maximum 8 base damage, and even versus an all-stop, he is a beast. Get a hold of this card ASAP for sure. He's up there with the likes of Kalindra CR, Tanareva CR, and Lamar CR, so make sure you get him before his price continues to go up even more, because you'll be forking out even more money to get a hold of him. Next, let's take a look at the best and worst cards in the clan according to star count and then rarity. Again, these choices are purely subjective. I promise I didn't leave off your favorite if it's not there. In fact, I know a lot of you might not like my 4-star choice, so I'm just warning you up front. If you think I made a mistake, feel free to leave a comment below telling me who you think the best and worst are. Up next, if I had to reveal my personal diamonds in the rough, I would have to say they're El Mercurio, Garuchica, and Lumberjack. El Mercurio is often overlooked because there are a lot of decent 4-star cards in this clan, and cards like El Matador, El Gascaro, and Mamakilla will always be top choices. However, El Mercurio is still a devastating card. When used in conjunction with your defeat cards, El Mercurio can go in for 8 damage. With a low min of 2 and its 7 power, that's a pretty amazing 4-star card. Garuchica is run in many low-star decks, but even otherwise, Garuchica is much better than perhaps she first looks. Taking all cards up to 8 power back down to 5 with her, then, if you have any attack manipulation advantage, Garuchica can force your opponent to pill up to 3 over her in order to win, which is awesome for a 2-star card. Cards which can guarantee that kind of pill usage, even if you lose, are invaluable in your deck, because when you're down a few pills and can afford to lose a round in exchange for lowering that pill gap, there are very few cards which can force your opponent to pill 3 over you in order to win. 3 damage on a 2-star is nothing to scoff at either. And finally, Lumberjack is well known as the only base 8 power in Huracan right now, but with only 6 damage, he's actually bringing up the rear damage-wise for the 5-star cards. This card causes me so much trouble in DTs though. I've been running an All-Stars deck in T2 occasionally, and whenever I draw Rob CR and Amir, my heart sinks when I see this guy. He even makes winning with Quinn difficult, which is exactly what I don't need. Keeping that 8 power makes Lumberjack extremely potent in the attack plus power manipulation meta that we have going on. So while he may not have the best damage, he's definitely got his own niche that can cause lots of trouble for the power manipulation cards. Up next, let's take a look at some extra info. Huracan pairs well with leaders like Amber due to only one card having 8 base power, or Hugo, who'll give them an even bigger and more solid attack manipulation boost without taking away from their total attack manipulation like Rescue might. Huracan also has a few standard methods of winning. First is the obvious all-in plus Fury with Noctizuma on a reprisal round versus a +2 damage clan. They can just bide their time and strike when they feel safest. Second is simply waiting to strike with a Furied La Solarosa, who can life gap for 15, and then throwing defeat plus life cards or DR at you, while you waste pills trying to get over that attack manipulation. In general though, there are 2 basic plans for Huracan. Again, to win round 1 and then slowly drain your pills until you make a mistake and over or under pill and lose. Or 2, to force you to way over pill on round 1 and then slowly destroy all of your hopes and dreams. This forces many Huracan games to basically be over after round 1 if you guess wrong and can't force them to pill. Next, let's take a look at some example decks. I'll try to cover a bunch of half decks and then a basic outline for a lot of mono decks. Perhaps one of the best non-ELO T1 half decks I can think of would be Derby Queen, El Mariachi, Tengu, and El Gascaro for 12 stars. No matter what you draw, even if it's your low star draw, you're still going to feel strong during your match. Looking for a super low star deck? Try Derby Queen, Miss Derby Queen, El Mariachi, and Tengu for 10 stars. For maximum attack manipulation, try El Papagallo, Petite Coq, El Mariachi, and El Divino for 14 stars. If you're worried about SOB, go with El Papagallo, El Mariachi, Lobezna, and Noctezuma for 13 stars. If you're worried about SOA, try Petite Coq, Raymano, El Matador, and Noctezuma for 14 stars. If you want to go for full-out anti-SOA, go with Petite Coq, Mr. Polo, Raymano, and Cage Troy for 13 stars. If you're looking for power manipulation, go with Gatu Chica, El Zombino, Lobezna, and Tengu for 11 stars. If you're looking to control your opponent, go with El Papagallo, El Mariachi, El Gascaro, and Noctezuma for 14 stars. If you're looking for damage prevention, go with El Papagallo, Magistrado LD, El Gascaro, and Fuerza Ciega, 13 stars. For plus life, El Papagallo, El Gascaro, El Matador, and La Celerosa for 13 stars. If you're looking for a budget deck that will run you around 8k, go with Derby Queen, El Papagallo, El Mercurio, and La Celerosa for 13 stars. And if you're looking for a super budget deck, try out Derby Queen, Miss Derby Queen, Raymano, and Fuerza Ciega for 13 stars. As for mono, in ELO, it'll probably look something like this. Derby Queen, Miss Derby Queen, El Papagallo, and Petite Coq, choose 2. El Mariachi, Magistrado LD, Raymano, Tengu, and Wonderlana, choose 3. And Devil Dog, El Matador, El Mercurio, Fuerza Ciega, and Mamakila, choose 3. If you prefer to have a 5-star card, it's not much of a problem since you'll have plenty of low-star cards. However, your selection of 5-star cards is quite small and not the most stable in the clan because of all those ELO bans. So I personally wouldn't recommend running a 5-star with them in ELO, but if you've got to, then you'll want 3 2-stars, 2 3-stars, 2 4-stars, and then 1 from La Celerosa, Pandagran, or Tecumán. Finally, in T2, you should run Devil Dog and El Gascaro, El Divino, Lumberjack, and Noctezuma CR, and then choose 3 between Fuerza Ciega, Mamakia, La Cobra, Kinichaw CR, La Celerosa, Pandagran, and Tecumán. Now, why did I choose some of these and not the others? Mostly because of the damage. It's really hard to get off 12 damage or more if most of your cards are only running 4, 5, or 3. So I tried to slot in as many 6 damage or 7 damage cards as possible, leaving the others, which tend to have much lower powers, as optional between whether you want to go for power or damage. Finally, which clans will Huracan have the easiest time dispatching? Well, perhaps in general I would say All-Stars, Frozen, Junks, Jungo, Pussycats, Sacrom, and Skis. These clans will have difficulty against Huracan because either they have low damage or because they lack the power to get over the massive plus attack. By keeping your bonus intact and not letting them out plus life gap you, you'll be able to force lots of pills, retain your bonus, and generally pull off a win in 2 rounds due to superior damage and attack manipulation. However, be careful around the following clans: Bangers, FPC, La Junta, Nightmare, Piranhas, Raptors, and Sentinel. These clans will stop your bonus via SOB, or smash you with so much damage that you won't have one afterwards, which can really hurt you in later rounds. They may also reduce your power, or force you to deal with their own annoying attack manipulation after removing your bonus too. The key to success is not relying too heavily on your bonus, and as always, making sure that you commit to and win the right rounds with the right cards. Well, this concludes my Huracan clan review. I hope you like it and feel like you learned something and feel better prepared to both play with and against the Huracan. I'm sorry this took so long to come out, guys. If you liked this video, then make sure to click that like button and share it if you really liked it. I make these videos so that others, including you, can learn about and enjoy Urban Rivals. Nothing makes me happier than when you guys enjoy these videos. And don't forget to leave a comment down below if there's anything you think that I forgot to mention. And while you're there, let me know which Huracan card is your favorite. And finally, as always, don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.